Welcome back to Home Sweet Home Cooking. I am Rocky, your host. My mother is off to my left behind the camera. She is sorting jars because today we're doing green beans. We're canning and pickling. We got two of these bushel cases of fresh green beans. These are stringless, so yay, I don't have to do as much work. But we're gonna can a bunch, and we're gonna do some pickled dilly beans. Dill bean pickles, hot, whatever. They're really good. But first, I've got some pint-and-a-half mason jars, ball jars in the oven, sterilizing. I've got the lids on the stove in some water. That's coming up to a simmer to get those sterilized and to get the rubber seals to soften up. And I've got my rings ready, and I've got my green beans, so all I gotta do is start getting these ready to do into the jars. And I've got water set up on the tea kettle, getting ready to boil, so we'll need that. And I got my pressure cooker set up and the water starting to come up to temp there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. You watch the intro and we'll be right back. So I've got some, not even a majority, but I've got some of the green beans picked through and prepped, ready to go. I got my jars sterilized. Again, everything's starting to go. And you put salt in the bottom of the jar. If it's a quart and you're doing a quart of green beans, you put a full teaspoon. For a half quart, it's a half a teaspoon. For a pint and a half, it'd be 3/4. So I've got 3/4 in all the pint and a halves, and a half teaspoon in all of the pints. From there, you're going to fill them with, you can parboil these if you want, or you can raw pack them. Just make sure they're clean. And I've got these cut, sorted into two piles by length. I've got the longer ones to go in the quart and a half, or pint and a halves. And pint and a halves are still very, very hot. So be careful with those. If you wanna, I'm not gonna tell you, this video is not on how you should can. This is just me showing you how I can. Check with your university extensions for some of the schools in your area, and they will give you guidelines on the proper sterilization techniques and all this good stuff. It's changed over the years from when the old ball manuals first came out. So what I did is the pint and a halves were sanitized in the sterilized in the oven, and it's 350-ish. In preheated 350 degree oven for about 15 minutes, so that's why these are still hot. Just want to get them packed in there as good as you can. Not too super packed that the liquid's not going to flow around it. And I'm going to get a couple more of these packed and I'll show you what you do after that, so I'll be right back. Jars are stuffed, and I've got the water in the tea kettle up to a boil. I want to fill the jars, leaving an inch of headspace on top. Headspace is room for expansion, and it's where the boiling water comes out of the jars under pressure and creates a vacuum. That's actually what seals your jars. I'll finish getting those poured off in a second. Once you get that on, you're going to take clean towel, gonna wipe off the rims, make sure there's no salt, no dirt, no grains, no nothing on there to get a seal. You're gonna take your lids from a pot of hot water. They're very hot. Gonna set them on. Make sure they're kind of centered, and lightly put a ring down, finger tight. You don't want to crank the rings on it. The rings are just basically going to hold the lid into place. You want like say the pressure cooking is going to push some of that, it's going to make the water in the cans boil, and that's going to push out some of the air. And then when the pressure cooker loses its pressure, the cans are going to suck the lids down with the vacuum. So you want them to just stay in place, but if you screw them down tight now, the air is never going to get out of the can and they're not going to seal, or out of the jar and they're not going to seal. So just finger tight and a touch more and that's it. So I'm going to get the rest of these done. We're going to go in the pressure cooker, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a few moments. One step I forgot to show you was burping them, so I took the lids off. I ran a plastic knife down the outside of the edge, and that brings all the bubbles to the top. You want to burp them to get the extra air out. Got the lids on all of them, and I've got them in. The water's hot, but not quite boiling. And I can fit 8 in each. So next step is to get the lids on. Make sure that the gasket's in good shape. And where's the mark? Alright. For now, when the lid goes on, the jiggler is off. For now. Next step, I got them both cranked up to high. I want to get them so they're pushing steam out the top for about 10 minutes straight. At that point, I'll put the jiggler on and I'll adjust the temperature. You want the jiggle to about 1 every second or so. And from there, you follow the manufacturer's guidelines. 20 minutes for pints, 25 minutes for quarts. These are pint and a half, so I'll probably do 22.5 minutes. Now again, don't do what I'm saying, do your own research. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. I'm not telling you how to do it. So when I get these done and get out, this isn't a video on how to do it. This is a video of just me showing you what I do. One day I might actually do one when I got my head screwed on straight, because if you don't do this right, canning, you can get yourself sick. So I'm gonna get this going, get this done, and then we're gonna set up and we'll show you the dilly beans. Those are pickled so they don't get pressured. Pickling is a lot easier to do, and that's another good way to serve them, and they come out great for an hors d'oeuvre or for snacks. So we'll get that set up and be right back. Alright, we're ready to get rolling on the pickled dilly beans. This recipe is out of a very old book for In a Pickle or a Jam from Creative Home Library from, let's see, what is the copyright of this darn thing? 1971, the year I was born. So yeah, it's 50 years old. The recipe in the book is 2 pounds of fresh green beans, 4 cloves of garlic, 4 sprigs of fresh dill, 1 teaspoon of red pepper, 2 tablespoons of coarse salt, 4 cups of white vinegar, and 4 cups of water. The salt, vinegar, and water are going to get boiled on the stove. The rest of it's going to get put in the jars and receive said liquid. So I'm going to go ahead and get some jars set up and show you what goes in each jar. Into the bottom of each quart jar is going to go 1 clove of garlic, 1 sprig of dill, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper, and then we're going to top it off with green beans. If you're doing pints, it would just be half. I would still use 1 full sprig of dill in a pint, and maybe a smaller clove of garlic, and I would cut back on the pepper. Gonna pack it in there pretty good. Seeing this isn't going in a canner, we don't have to leave too much headspace. We're gonna be covering it with vinegar all the way to the rim anyway. So I gotta do this. We're doing a double batch, so I do this 7 more times, and we'll come back and finish it off. So each jar has the pepper, the garlic, and the dill in it, and they're stuffed with the green beans. So we're going to pour in this is, again, 2 tablespoons of coarse salt, 4 cups of white vinegar, and 4 cups of water, and brought to a boil. And you're going to use this this doesn't really have to headspace because it's not going in a vinegar.
Have another cigarette.
I'll pour just a little more in there. Get it right up to the top. Quit bumping my camera. Lid is hot. Make sure there's only one. And when this goes on, this does go on stronger than finger tight. So go ahead and grab the jar for me. And I'm going to set that aside. Now these you're going to have to check tomorrow and make sure that they did seal. Don't push them down now because that will give you a false seal. Let them sit on the counter overnight, seal, and when the liquid on these, when the liquid cools off, it tends to shrink, and that's going to pull the top down and seal it. Now this is vinegar, so it's pickled, not canned, so you can get away with doing it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these off, and I'll wrap it up in just a moment. And we're done for today. We did 1 bushel of beans. I've got 1 more bushel to do tomorrow. The dill beans, pickled dill beans. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarts and 5 pints. Behind me, I don't think you can see them, are the canned beans. I've got 8 pints and 8 pint and a halves. So if you're curious how much green beans is in a bushel,
A lot.
that's we never thought we got done. Oh, actually, technically I got 9 because those have to get boiled off tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So my girlfriend and I are gonna sit down early tomorrow when we get up and go ahead and snap some beans and get started on that first thing in the morning. It's gonna go well. Get the crack at noon. Get that started, and once things get rolling in the pressure cookers, it takes a while to build up pressure and all that, so I can get us some other things accomplished. But that's a lot of work. But to have, I'll have, I mean, this much beans. This will be staying here. I'll take a couple of these home when they seal. She may have to water bath these tomorrow because some of them aren't going to go down. But these are good. They'll last for a long time being pickled. Once they're open, you put them in the fridge. They're kind of hot, a little bit spicy because of the pepper, a little garlicky, and they got that dill, but they got a really good crunch to them. These are fantastic.
And
great in a Bloody Mary.
I'm early for the taste test. You got to wait 3 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I thought it was 3.
It says 2. But yeah, you have to wait for them to do their thing, to pickle. The jarred ones, of course, we can use right away. I'll probably, as many as I've got going, I'll probably have a couple that don't seal, so those will go in the fridge to use. But it's really worth it if you can get, we got these for free, 2 bushels of beans for free. So yeah, for us to set aside the time to do it, they're better quality, better flavor. I know what's going in there. There's no extra preserved stuff I don't want, and I just think that's the way to go if you can. So this video kind of get out of control. It's going to be scatterbrained all over the place. Apologize for that. But you can see, like I said, this was not instructional for you how to can. This is how I did it. Don't follow my instruction. Don't follow the lead. If you do something, get sick, don't blame me. Go contact your area school's extension office and get some canning tips from them, or buy yourself the canning book, and they'll teach you step by step how to do it. This is just the way that I do it. So again, take that with a grain of salt. I'm tired. I'm going home, get some sleep so I can get up and do this tomorrow. And we thank you for watching. Just noticed that our subscribers at this point are up over 200, which is awesome. Thank you all for subscribing and helping this channel grow. And make some comments down below the things you want to see, because it is much for you guys. You're watching the videos. I want to know what you guys want to watch. So make some comments and tell me what videos, what kind of food you're looking for, and we'll try to get some of that knocked out. So again, thank you for watching, and everybody have a good night.